Karsten Belt, a 22-year-old saxophone player from the Netherlands, has done the extraordinary. With a TikTok following of over 1.5 million and huge audiences on both YouTube and Instagram, Karsten's videos adding sax solos to songs that don't need them has made him a sax superstar, landing him on massive stages like The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon and alongside the likes of Kelly Clarkson and Dean Lewis.
It's a great song, but the way it is, I'm not sure it needs a saxophone solo.
I know you're going to love this chat, so please enjoy my interview with Karsten Belt. Karsten, I just want to start by saying thank you so much for coming on the SaxTuition channel.
Thank you so much for having me.
So your audience, they see you cutting loose over these great pop songs. But, as a sax player, you've put in some serious work behind the scenes to learn how to improvise and growl and use altissimo and all that stuff that you do. So what was that journey like for you learning the saxophone? And I'm really interested to know what sort of things were you practicing like 4 or 5 years ago that helped get you to where you are now?
I think I had lessons for a long time, for I think 8 years, 9 years even. So that really helped to have someone guide you through the process. And at first I had like the boring exercises, like the rhythm exercises to just play one note and different rhythms. That really helped. But I'm not really great at practicing. I don't really like to do stuff I don't like to play. So very quickly I started to play by ear because I wanted to play the pop songs I listened to. And I just put on those songs and I started to play along. And at some point it started to go better and better to just play along with the songs. So that's basically how I learned that. And then I listened to other saxophone players and I heard things like rolling and altissimo.
Yeah.
And I was like, now I want that one as well. So I started putting on their saxophone songs and I started to play that as well, and mostly by ear. I only played what I liked, and it was never a goal to make this my job at all. It was just a hobby and I loved it, and I think that's what made me learn the right things, because I wanted to do this, what I'm doing right now, and it all worked out that way.
So you were learning mainly from ear, and what kind of sax players were you listening to? Like, are you trying to emulate anyone in particular, or is it sort of a mishmash of everybody?
I think it is a bit of a mishmash, but I think Candy Dulfer has a very strong influence on me. She's a Dutch saxophone player as well. Really great, sweet person as well. I've met her actually, and she's really nice, which was really great meeting your idol like that. But yeah, she has a very free style of playing and the great tone. I was always in love with her tone. It sounds so great. But I think a real turning point for me was also Hey Jude, the version by Warren Hill. I don't know if you know that one.
No, I don't.
You should look it up. It's really cool.
Absolutely.
It's like a very wild version of Hey Jude. And it's the first time I really heard altissimo on saxophone, because he does a high D, like a very high altissimo. And it's like, how do you do that?
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but before you started your TikTok journey, you actually had quite a sizable following on YouTube, and you were posting videos of you busking around the city. Now, I've watched a few of those early videos of yours, and can I just say, hats off to you, man, because that is one of the hardest things to do. Like, it makes you so vulnerable as a performer. I'm terrified of busking. I went and did a master's degree, and there's almost nothing I can imagine more scary than just in the streets, to an audience who hasn't paid to be there, doesn't necessarily even want to be there. What was that experience like for you busking in the streets?
I think I started doing that pretty young. And I think that made it easier to get over that first initial step of actually, playing on the streets for so many people sometimes. For me, it just felt like fun. I was just playing the songs, and you say it feels like a high step to do that because the people haven't paid for it. But I felt like they haven't paid for it, so if they don't want to hear it, they just walk away. And it's very I don't know the word. Like it changes up very often because you have a bunch of people watching. They watch till the end of the song, and then they walk away, and new people come. So it's like you have a bunch of audiences, and you can experience. You can experiment. Because I think that's also where my improvising started, because I played a bunch of pop songs, and it gets very boring to do that for like 5 hours in a row. So I just started adding a little sparkle through there.
I can't remember.
That made me interested.
Yeah, I can't remember what interview I watched with you, but I think you said something about how you get that instant feedback from the audience, right? So if they're not vibing what you're doing, you know straight away, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
If we go back a few years ago now, so you're still a teenager, you get TikTok, then all of a sudden your life changes. So what was that big break that just blew everything up for you?
It was actually, I downloaded TikTok a while before, and I posted some random videos, didn't know what I was doing. And then I started to add solos to songs with like the produced sound. So I had a microphone set up and stuff. And the second video I posted got 2 million views in a week. So I was very lucky in that sense to have something that works immediately, and then it just went wild because pretty much every solo I've done since then has done really well. So I've been very lucky with that, and I've just been playing what I feel. I hear the song and I just feel like something is missing. There should be something coming here, and I try to emulate that or make that myself with the saxophone.
Walk us through it. I know you're an organic guy, you play by ear. What's your musical process for adding a saxophone solo to a pop song? How do you negotiate that?
I think first of all I listen to the song quite a few times, because I want to get into the right mood, the right vibe, and I want to know, because when I play my solos, they're improvised, so I don't have like a real, I don't write notes or anything, so I don't have anything to fall back on. So I want to listen to the song as much as possible, so I have the chorus in my head, so I will incorporate some of that in the solo, hopefully. For the song Lost Without You by Kygo and Dean Lewis is just released, and it's an awesome song. And now it just needs saxophone, so that's what I'm gonna try to do, like high notes and stuff, and we'll see. It's a difficult one, like I'm struggling. Well, I've been playing for like 2 minutes, but I really just find a place in the song where I feel like the song should explode. It's mostly where there's like a drum fill or a build up to the last chorus or something like that. And I put in a karaoke track instead of the real track at that point. Basically then I put down my camera and I start recording immediately, because there has been one time where the very first take I recorded was the one I posted. So I try to record everything, because sometimes these initial feelings come out in the first take, and they're often the best for me.
Yeah, and I saw you also posted a video, great kind of little behind the scenes video a while back, where you I think you did 13 takes of one of Dean Lewis's songs, and you sort of showed what that process is like, and sometimes you don't always get it on the first take either.
No, definitely not.
Another thing I noticed with you playing is that ability to quote melodies and sometimes go off track and quote some other melodies as well. Like I think you did Baker Street on Take Me to Church. That's such a great way of approaching it as well, right? Because it gives the audience something immediate to just hook into.
Exactly, yeah, it's a very familiar solo, and I thought the start of it is very similar to Take Me to Church, so
Yeah.
let's put those together.
Yeah. So let's talk gear now and just nerd out for a second. What's your setup on the alto saxophone?
I have my signature SAXES mouthpiece, which was a great step for me as well. They made it for me, which is a very luxurious position, of course, to have someone design a mouthpiece for you. But it really enabled me to get that pop sound and to like build a bit further. I don't think like you can have just a normal. I had a Selmer C-Star mouthpiece for the longest time, and on most of my first videos as well, I don't think mouthpiece is like the deciding factor or anything, but it just helps if you know which way you want to go and you get a mouthpiece that goes that way. It's just much easier, it's much nicer. So
you also use a lot of air when you play as well, and I think you sort of need a mouthpiece that can respond to that and doesn't top out like the C-Star would. When
I made that switch, I think I started playing differently as well with more air. Like I used to play with my bottom lip turned inwards when playing, so a bit classical way, and now I play with my lip outwards, which allows you to have much more control and much more airflow. So that was a big change for me as well.
So you're working, I think, on putting out your own music at the moment, is that right? Possibly an album in the works. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's going to be very different than what you might expect, because I'm learning to sing, which has been one of my main focuses for the last 1 to 2 years, because I love the saxophone, but I love to solo on the saxophone, and you cannot solo for a whole song. And also I love pop music. So I wanted to combine the pop music and the soloing to basically do what I've been doing, adding saxophone solos to pop songs, but then they're my own pop songs. That's basically what I'm working on. So it's quite a long road ahead, because learning to sing is incredibly difficult. But that's what I'm working on, and my own songs, pop songs with saxophone as well.
Are you ready? Here we go.
What about Dean Lewis? I know you've got a good, we seem to have a great friendship with him. What's he like to work with?
He's really great. He's one of the sweetest people I know. He's been very supportive of me, of everything. I chat with him just on WhatsApp, and I send him messages sometimes, and it's so wild to me that he just responds. I sent him a little bit of singing a while ago, and he just like, oh, I'm learning to sing, by the way. And he was like, oh man, that's great. He had like a voice message of like 30 seconds of just saying how great it was just really insane to get that. And then he invited me to sing with him on stage, so I did that as well. Very small snippet.
That's awesome.
Which was really great.
Oh mate, it helps to have friends in high places as well.
Yes. I can now say my first time singing was in front of 5,500 people.
Hey Karsten, thank you so much for doing this interview. It's been so great to chat with you. Can't wait to hear your upcoming album. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for having me.